So before we move into the information session, we would like to begin with a land acknowledgement. Western University is situated on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, Lenapehouk, and Chuanadon nations on lands connected with the London Township and Sombre Treaties of 1796 and the Dish with One Spoon Covenant Wampum. Having personally grown up in London and pursued both my undergrad and graduate studies in the health sciences programs here at Western, I recognize that my connection to the land runs deep. I am working towards understanding and honoring my relationship with the land, recognizing our dependence on the environment, and as a part of this journey, I am dedicating myself to learning and self-education through various pathways to deepen my understanding and help work towards a future where Indigenous rights are fully respected, celebrated, and protected. The professional programs you are here to explore today are also actively taking steps to support this vision, including creating pathways to increase Indigenous enrollment and foster more equitable opportunities within our programs. This is an important journey and one that we must all actively support, and together let us recognize our relationship with the land and work towards meaningfully engaging in reconciliation. So without a further ado, I will move into the Audiology and Speech Language Pathology information session, starting with our program preview day video.
So here in the School of Communication Sciences and Disorders, we conduct two professional programs, one in audiology and one in speech-language pathology. Audiologists are concerned with the evaluation of hearing abilities, both normal and impaired hearing abilities, and the assessment of communicative functions in persons with hearing impairments. They're also concerned with the prevention of hearing loss, including consulting with industry and the government regarding ways to minimize the impact of noise on hearing. And they're involved in the planning and carrying out of rehabilitation programs for individuals with hearing problems. They work with prescription and fitting of assistive listening devices, training in speech reading or other communication strategies, and counseling for individuals and families who are coping with hearing loss. We have the National Center for Audiology here in the Faculty of Health Sciences, and that's associated with the school. It's a major research center for audiology in Canada. The NCA is a well-equipped and modern research facility located right here in next to our school, and it provides unique learning and research opportunities for students. Speech-language pathologists are concerned with the assessment and treatment of a broad range of speech, language, hearing, voice, resonant swallowing, and cognitive communicative impairments. And there's listed here a number of those, and this won't be an exhaustive list. There'll be even more kinds of communication impairments that speech-language pathologists might support. And here in our school, one unique feature is our H.A. Leeper Speech and Hearing Clinic, where we provide clinical education experiences for students who are enrolled in our programs, and we support research in the area of communication disorders. Our aim is to provide high-quality speech, language, hearing, balance, voice resonance, and cognitive communicative services to individuals and families in our community. In terms of applications to the program, audiology prerequisites include a half-year course in developmental psychology or normal lifespan development and a half-year course in statistics, also at least one half-year course in human anatomy and human physiology, and a half-year course in social sciences or psychology. You should look at our website to get the most up-to-date information on our prerequisites. For the audiology program, applicants are strongly encouraged to have completed at least one course in mathematics, physics, or engineering science. And for our speech language pathology program, prerequisites include a half-year course in developmental psychology or child development that includes content on normal language development, a half-year course in general linguistics that includes content on phonetics, a half-year course in statistics, a half-year course in human anatomy or human physiology, and a half-year course in life science or general science, and also in social science or psychology. And once again, be sure to watch our website for the most up-to-date information on our prerequisites. It's also recommended that additional courses in those life or general science or social science and psychology courses are taken in preparation for the program. You can find more information about our programs and applications to our program on our website, or by contacting Samantha Albanese at the number listed here, or at our program email earmouth@uwo.ca. You apply to the program through ORPAS, and the ORPAS application must include a one-page, well-written personal statement, 2 well-chosen academic references, and 1 well-chosen professional reference. You include a CV or resume, and there are other aspects like all your transcripts, voluntary history, and your awards, etc. You can strengthen your application by obtaining diverse volunteering experiences, by becoming involved in research, and by highlighting what distinguishes you from other applicants. For this year, the deadline to apply is January 6, 2025 at midnight. International applicants are invited, and they can apply both through ORPAS or directly here at Western through our School of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies portal. Requirements for applying as an international student include all of those that I've just gone over for our standard admission requirements for speech language pathology and audiology. Your transcripts from outside of Canada or the United States must be evaluated for their equivalency by the World Education Services, and then both that original transcript and that WES evaluation must be submitted with your applications. In cases where the applicant has not completed their entire undergraduate degree in an English-speaking institution or in a country with English as an official language, then proof must be submitted regarding English language proficiency. And you can see the test result cutoffs that we set for our applications. Once again, the deadline for ORPAS is January 6th. And for our own portal through the School of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies, that application deadline is February 7th, 2025. And we have a rolling process for examining those applicants. Students who are applying to our international portal are encouraged to do this by mid-December if possible because of the incoming international student cap. And you can find out more information on our website for international students, or contact John at cozkurt@uwo.ca. Thank you very much.
So now I would like to introduce Dr. Sheila Moody, who will provide us with a brief presentation on our health and rehab programs and offerings.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about 2 other programs we have here. And one is called Advanced Healthcare Practice. And you can see the UWO email address if you have questions, but you can also see the FHS link to this program. And this program is a 1-year online Master of Health Sciences in Advanced Healthcare Practice. And one of the paths to that MHSC is through the Applied Health Sciences. And the Applied Health Sciences really is a master's degree that offers a comprehensive and interdisciplinary approach to health and healthcare, designed for students who primarily want to deepen their understanding of the field of applied health sciences that's critical for healthcare professions. So this course, this master's degree, can prepare you for other academic work, such as moving into the MCLSC program. So it is a pathway to that. You have real-world application through capstone experience projects that you do with a mentor. You can develop important skills for professional practice, and it helps you develop research skills and critical thinking skills. The other program that we have in our MHSC Advanced Healthcare Practice master's degree is Health Equity and Sustainability. And again, that's a one-year master's program that's really having a lot of interest with students coming into master's degrees, because people are interested in health equity and sustainability from a global health perspective view. You also learn about research. You have real world application, again, through this capstone of experience project, and you get a really good understanding about interdisciplinary perspectives. So that's all I'm going to tell you about those two programs, but go to the website because you'll learn lots of other things about those programs there. And then I want to talk to you a little bit about our health and rehabilitation sciences degrees. And so if you have questions about this degree, you can email hrsinfo@uwo.ca and get your questions answered there. And also look at the website because there's lots of good information there as well. So we have a 2 years MSc in Health and Rehabilitation Sciences, where you can develop advanced research skills. It's a thesis-based master's, so it opens doors to research and leadership roles. It's a way to stand out to employers because now you have a master's degree in Health and Rehabilitation Sciences. And it's an excellent way to prepare yourself for a PhD or other academic work like the professional programs that we have here at Western. It's a really nice way to establish expertise in a specialized area working with PhD experts. And as Dr. Archibald explained earlier, we have lots of experts here at Western in the National Center for Audiology and elsewhere. So this link will take you to the health and rehabilitation fields and the supervisors within those fields. But we have supervisors who can help you with your master's work across the lifespan. So we have people who are experts in childhood and childhood hearing loss. We have people who are experts in childhood speech. We have people who are experts in aging and homelessness and virtual care, pain care, and a number of other amazing fields that you can do research in to get your master's of science. And then in the health and rehabilitation sciences field, we also have a combined MCLSC PhD degree that has limited enrollment, so you must be a strong student. And it takes you 5 years. And in those 5 years, you get your PhD using a thesis-based master's approach. But you can also, it also prepares you to be a clinician in occupational sciences, a master's of physical therapy, a master in speech sciences, and a master in hearing sciences. So it's a combined degree where you get to prepare yourself to be a clinician scientist or work in academia in various and sundry ways, and establishes expertise in specialized areas and helps you become ready for important leadership roles. So again, you can go to the Registrar Student Finances to find out the fees associated with both of these programs. And I'm sending you there because it's easier for me to send you there than to start to try to talk to you about what the fees are for various and sundry scenarios. So thank you very much for that opportunity. And we hope to see you here because your future is here.
Hello, and welcome to those of you just joining us, as well as any existing participants, to the Occupational Therapy Information Session for Program Preview Day.
I'm Dr. Carrie Hinn. I'm an associate professor and graduate chair in the School of Occupational Therapy. And I'm really happy to see that there's lots of people here, and I'd love to tell you more about occupational therapy. So OT is an internationally recognized health profession that's dynamic, and our main goal is to enable occupation amongst individuals and communities that can help promote health, well-being, social inclusion, and social justice, as I mentioned, at individual, family, community, and societal levels. In our School of Occupational Therapy at Western, we focus on health and well-being, social inclusion, and social justice within our research and also within our teaching and clinical practice. We relate these things, health and well-being, social inclusion, and social justice, to the needs of individuals and communities. When we think about health and well-being, we think about more than just an absence from disease. It's a holistic concept encompassing physical, social, emotional, and mental well-being. This is all drawn upon to support life. In this way, we focus on the occupation and its power to help people engage in the world around them. In terms of social inclusion, we focus on an equitable and effective participation of all members in our societies, thinking about those that may feel excluded from a variety of aspects of life, such as education, work, volunteering, and leisure. We think a lot about this in our teaching and research in terms of how we can enhance occupational possibilities for individuals and collectives, meaning thinking about how we can enhance opportunities for people to access opportunities, as well as reducing any barriers to access. In terms of social justice, we think about and work related to all kinds of issues, such as access to food, housing, transportation, and education. All of these things are important determinants of health and well-being and determinants of what we can do day to day, which are our occupations. Our curriculum focuses on a number of areas. And so around the outside of this circle that I'm showing you, we have our pedagogical approaches. That's our approaches to teaching. One of the major ones is occupation-based inquiry, where we focus on the occupations that an individual or a community is needing and wanting to do. Those occupations might be things related to caring for themselves and others, engaging in occupations like work or school, or engaging in things like leisure and recreation. Another key part of our teaching approach is experiential learning. And of course, across all professional programs, there's fieldwork opportunities where students gain hands-on experience. We also build experiential learning within our courses across the curriculum. So hands-on labs are one example. We also do reflective and relational learning, and these two concepts consider thinking about concepts that students are learning, helping them to reflect on what they're learning, think about how it connects to previous learning and future learning. Relational learning relates again to the connections and relationships that we have with students. So each instructor in our program seeks to understand the students on a personal level and help students to build relationships between themselves as students, between them and other instructors, such as mentors and faculty members. And then finally, our final approach to teaching is transformative learning, meaning that we do see learning as transformative. Entering our professional program can be a very transformative experience for people personally, and ideally it's helping to transform other aspects of their community through your placement and field work or other projects that you do as part of the curriculum. Our curriculum is shaped around 5 different categories, and I won't go into too much detail around these, but we focus on engaging in occupation, foundations of practice, so the building blocks that we all need as professionals, professional practice generally, and learning to be a health professional and developing that identity. We focus on determinants of health and occupation, and then theory and evidence. All of the things that I'm mentioning right now related to our curriculum relate back to harnessing the transformative power of occupation. So we're helping our clients to engage in occupation that can transform their own lives and the lives of their communities. I'm going to make my screen a little bit bigger, I hope. Let's go on to the next one. So I've already gone over what these things are at a brief level, and I think I don't need to go into too much detail, I don't think. I'm happy to answer questions, though. So getting back to basics, I've mentioned what occupations are, but I'd like to get into that a little bit more. Occupations can be considered activities, but the term occupation means that they're activities that people find meaningful in some way to their day-to-day life. They might get a sense of identity from that, or they might find it's important in order to earn a living and earn employment wages. They might find it's important for other reasons. And so caring for oneself might include things like doing your personal care in the morning, driving, taking medication, productivity type occupations are all the things where we're learning and growing, play, school, jobs, homemaking, taking care of one's home. And then of course, leisure can cover a whole range of things that people engage in, from social activities and sports to socializing and crafts and cultural activities. OTs practice in almost every practice area that you can name. So we're in schools working with kids, working with people with developmental disabilities, working in mental health, in communities or in hospitals, working with people with physical disabilities, in acute hospital settings, in rehab hospital settings, in community rehab settings, and then in home care settings. We do a lot with technology, depending on the client group they're working with. We do lots in return to work after an injury or mental health concern. Um, we work in all kinds of settings. And then the outcomes that we're working towards are that person can engage in the occupations that they want and need to do. And then we also think about all the different aspects that relate to occupation, like a humanistic approach, seeing the person as a whole being and not just parts, looking holistically, thinking about humans as having a need for occupation. Our school has a few or several, five, I guess, values that we use to guide our teaching and research, and these are listed here. So we do see occupation as a human right. It's an equity issue when people have barriers to participating in occupations. We see diversity as a strength, so in our student body, in our faculty members, in the topics that we study, all of the diverse perspectives can only strengthen our work. We see social transformation as achievable. So while we focus a lot on inequities and issues that need to be addressed, we do see it as possible to transform society and to make things more equitable for everyone. We believe that collaboration fosters inclusion and that that's an important part of our curriculum, our teaching, and our research. And then finally, as I mentioned, we believe that experiential learning is a really important aspect of teaching and learning as it enhances engagement, creativity, and innovation. So we try to live these values day to day. At Western, we do have some unique parts that make us unique. Lots of occupational therapy programs in Canada have a lot of similarities given the requirements we have from our accreditors. But at Western, we do have a strong focus on equity, as I've talked about. One other aspect that's unique for us is that we have mentors that are assigned to small groups of students that work with the students from the beginning of first year to the end of the second year. Those are relationships that can be really comfortable for students where they can gain information and advice from practicing occupational therapists. We do simulation as part of our field work. So students' first field work opportunity will be a simulation opportunity where they work with standardized patients on case studies. They get advice and teaching from practicing occupational therapists as part of this simulation. And then finally, we have projects in second year in which small groups of occupational therapy students are partnered with a community partner. And you work on a real world issue that that partner has and contribute to the work of that organization using an occupational therapy perspective. These are projects that kind of give a broader view on what occupational therapy could look like. It's often in settings where there is not currently an occupational therapist, but there could be. Moving on. Just in terms of who we are, a couple of people in our department are our director, Lynn Shaw, and myself, Carrie. I'm the graduate program chair. And then this is another photo and demonstration of our faculty. We have a really wonderful faculty with lots of wonderful instructors and researchers looking into all kinds of interesting things, and a really committed group to the learning of our students and the research that we do. Here we go. In terms of academic programs, as you know, I'm sure you're aware, in being here, we have the MSCOT, which is a 2-year graduate program for occupational therapy. It provides you with an entry-level practice degree. So this is what it prepares you to be an occupational therapist. We're also involved in research-based programs. So these are not clinical occupational therapy programs where you might receive an MSc or a PhD, and you would do a thesis in each of those. We further offer a combined program combining a PhD that's thesis-based with the MSc-OT program, and that's a 5-year program. If you do have more questions after this session, after you have an opportunity to ask questions here, you can always go to our website or send an email to askot@uwo.ca.
So now we will begin our information session led by the Physical Therapy Program Graduate Chair, Dr. Erin Miller.
Okay, so you should be able to see my slides now, can you? Yeah, great. So I'd just like to start by thanking our staff and our students and other faculty members that are here today supporting this session. And also thank you to all of you prospective students who have joined us today. We're really excited to have this opportunity with you today. As Jessica mentioned, I'm the Master of Physical Therapy Graduate Program Chair. So I'm very happy to be presenting to you today a bit about our school, our program, and the profession of physical therapy. So on this first slide, we have a description of physical therapy from the Canadian Physiotherapy Association, which is our national professional association. So the heart of the physiotherapy profession is understanding how and why movement and function take place. Physiotherapists are highly skilled and autonomous health professionals who provide safe, quality client-centered physiotherapy through commitment to service availability, accessibility, and excellence. So you can see there one of our primary focuses really is on movement and function and helping individuals to optimize or restore movement and function. So some of the core body systems relevant to physical therapy are neuromusculoskeletal. So often we think about that in terms of orthopedics, like the bones, the joints, and the muscles. Cardiovascular pulmonary, so that's the heart, the lungs, and the vascular system. So your arteries, your veins, your capillaries. And then the neurological system, so both your central and your peripheral nervous systems. Now, a lot of things listed on this slide, but this just gives you some examples of areas of practice and setting of practice. It's by no means exhaustive, so there are other areas beyond this, but just gives you a bit of an overview. So some of the areas of practice that you might see physical therapists working in would be neurology or with burn, so someone after they've sustained a burn injury, cardiovascular pulmonary, so that's working with people with their lungs, heart, and vascular system, individuals with chronic pain, critical care and intensive care unit settings, geriatrics, so that's seniors health, hand therapy, occupational health, so working with people in their workplaces, oncology, working with people after they've had a cancer diagnosis, orthopedics, pediatrics, which is working with children, pelvic health, aquatic therapy, so being in the pool, and a variety of others listed there on the slide. Examples of practice settings that we might work in, so a general hospital, a specific rehabilitation hospital. So in a general hospital, you might be dealing with more immediate acute care injuries, whereas in a rehabilitation hospital, it's sort of a little bit further along that journey and helping people to recover out of after they're out of the acute care phase. Private practice, so working in a private clinic, home care, working at somebody's home, long-term care, so that's a facility like a nursing home. You might see physiotherapists working online, telerehabilitation, a pediatric center, so again, working with children, in the school, in a workplace, university or colleges, family health teams, emergency departments, and advanced practice teams. So working with advanced practice, it means they're working sort of a little bit more in an advanced area beyond sort of just your general physiotherapy practice. Again, these aren't exhaustive. These are just examples of where you may see physiotherapists working in terms of the setting of practice and the area that they're working in. So this is the mission and the vision from the Master of Physical Therapy program here at Western University. So our mission is to deliver collaborative, case-based, and experiential learning opportunities that prepare graduates to master the essential entry-level competencies for physical therapy practice in Canada. And we want to embrace lifelong professional growth and be leaders in the community they serve. Our vision is that graduates from our program will be innovative, massive adapter learners that are prepared to meet the health and functional needs of Canadians now and into the future. And what we mean by master adaptive learners is that you may learn about something in one context. So you may see something, for example, you may learn about a specific condition that you see in a specific hospital setting, but we want you then to be able to take that learning and apply it to new contexts. So a great example of when physical therapists had to do that was with COVID-19. That's a condition we'd never seen before, but we had our base learning and our base skills that we were then able to apply to a new condition to be able to treat individuals with post-COVID-19 infection. This slide just shows you our full-time School of Physical Therapy faculty. And so you can see we've got a wide range of faculty working and teaching in the Master of Physical Therapy program. We're really, really excited to show you this slide. So this is the Entrepreneurship and Innovation building, and we've recently moved into this building. So we just started classes in this building in September of this year. So that's an outside view that you see in the center there. And then you see the atrium or the lobby that on the right side of the slide. And then just below that, that's one of our clinical lab spaces. So we have 3 lab spaces that look very similar to that. And that's where the vast majority of our clinical skills labs take place. Now thinking more about the program, so we are an accredited entry to a practice program, and we are a 2-year full-time enrollment program. So there isn't a part-time option. This is a full-time program, and it goes for 2 years. So you start in September, and then 2 years later, you would finish in August. It is a settings-based model, so it is different than some of the other physiotherapy programs across Canada. Some might be focused on body systems, whereas we're settings-based. So what that means is you'll look at the different settings of practice. So we're organized according to clinics, according to acute care, so that hospital, and then according to rehab and some other settings of practice. We have a blended learning style, so we do offer a mix of in-person learning, and then we also have some synchronous online and asynchronous online. So that's live online versus like pre-recorded online learning activities. And we do have individual activities as well as working in teams. In your first year of the program, we have a foundations term, then you go into your first settings term, and then your third settings or your next settings term, and then you have your first clinical experience, which is a clinical placement out with one of our partners. So that's at the end of your first year, would be the first time that you're going out into a clinical placement. In year 2, you have term 4, where we're again back into the settings, and then another clinical placement. Term 5 is your integrations term and another clinical placement. And then finally, you have your final clinical placement and pulling it all together in our consolidation term. So 4 clinical placement blocks mixed with academic programming, so your courses. In terms of our annual intake, we take 120 students, and so we have 100 seats that are for domestic applicants. Within those domestic applicant seats, up to 5 of those are for our combined Masters of Physical Therapy and PhD students. So they're doing a Masters of Physical Therapy and a PhD at the same time. And then we have 5 designated seats for Indigenous applicants. And then we have, on top of our 100 domestic seats, we have up to 20 seats for international applicants. For the application requirements, domestic applicants need to apply through ORPAS, whereas our international applicants have 2 options. They can apply through ORPAS, or we have a direct application portal through SGPS. You do need a 4-year undergraduate degree, and you do need greater or equal to 70% in all of your prerequisite courses that need to be completed within the last 7 years. We do require 2 reference letters, so one from an academic source and one from a professional, which should be a physical therapist. And then your GPA is calculated using the last 20 half courses on your transcript. In terms of the other components, we require an applicant statement. We require you to describe your physical therapy related experience and then other experiences not related to PT. So for example, certain volunteer experience that might not relate directly to PT, but would have relevance. And then you also are required to do the CASPER and submit a CASPER score. So that's the computer-based assessment for sampling personal characteristics. This just gives you an overview of our admissions process. So essentially, we use your GPA and your CASPER score to sort through and rank the top 500 applicants, and then we send out for external review. So we have reviewers that look at the file, and it's read by 3 different reviewers who look at each of the files. In terms of the number of applicants, you can see we had just over 1,300 applicants. And then 223 of those applicants would have received a first round offer. And then resulting in a class size of 120. Anybody in the 120 that we didn't fill from a first round offer would have been on our wait list, and then we would have filled any remaining from that wait list. And you can see our cutoff for GPA for 2024 was a 3.78. Getting to the end here, just planning for some costs of training. So just some things to consider that they're tuition. This just gives you the cost of the tuition per term, and it is a 6-term or 2-year program. Then you see there will be some costs on top of your tuition. So things like books and other learning resources wouldn't be included within your base tuition. And there are some costs associated as well with clinical placements. Some of your clinical placements actually do need to be completed outside of London. And so that will incur additional living costs outside of London and transportation costs and other things like that. We do have some subsidies and bursaries available. So that's something to consider. But generally they would not cover full costs. So there will be additional costs just for you to be aware of.